Revelation 1355. From the 27th of March 1940. Spiritual activity. Teachings. Light. In infinity, the spirit often lingers and becomes immensely active, provided that the spiritual from that world joins him, because the connection of spiritual power also increases the urge for activity. There are also unimaginable forces active in unimaginable worlds. It is like a tremendous, immeasurable workshop of industrious workers who fulfill their assigned task in the will of the eternal Creator. As the spirit of man rises to those heights, he also joins the activity of all spiritual, he joins, so to speak, the chain of countless spiritual creators. The stay on earth remains an only purely physically existence, while the spirit is unbound and can stay where it likes. The more sensitive he is now, that is, the easier he can establish the separation from the earth, the more intensively the spiritual current to which he turns, touches him. The state of complete detachment is difficult to achieve for an earthly person, unless the spiritual power helps him and thus imposes itself on him in such a way that he may only accept what is offered to him, provided that their will to accept is strong. So this is a kind of spiritual activity, that gifts of knowledge are imparted from spirit to spirit. This is particularly necessary where such knowledge is only scarcely available, because it is absolutely demanded from a being for spiritual maturity. And this is quite particularly significant in the earth's proximity, because the earthly people standing in the higher development of soul, lack knowledge of the divine truth in high measure, so that therefore everything perfectly spiritual cares for the people and their constant effort is to increase their knowledge. Spiritually active people, that is, those who take care of their inner life and put it before the earthly life of the body, will therefore often rise mentally to those heights and want to receive the knowledge which is offered to them by their caretakers. And just this constant instructing of the people needing the knowledge, is spiritual activity. It seeks to find spirit to spirit and to communicate, and as far as spiritual has merged to common activity, the power of penetration is stronger, and it now also becomes understandable that the perfect beings can never remain in inactivity as long as they find objects to which their activity applies. And that this will always be as long as the world exists. This merging of spiritual power through the will of the giver as well as the receiver must therefore produce results, which again are only of a purely spiritual kind, however remain imperishable and therefore increase the knowledge, the spiritual in itself. For knowledge is a spiritual power which can be passed on. It is the knowledge light which again throws its rays to all sides. Therefore the activity of the spirit again has a light-bringing effect. And therefore it will be understandable that in earthly life, alone the knowledge about divine truth is valuable. For this alone is lasting insofar as it is also in the life on the other side again that which alone is to be desired and therefore is passed on. The flight into infinity will earn every being who desires truth, the same, exactly that divine truth, which every perfect being carries in itself and therefore gives as light and strength to him, who desires it. And therefore the activity of all spiritual is of extraordinary importance, because without that, it would not be possible for the spirit in man to draw from the source of truth, because everything what is perfect is divine, and therefore God himself opens the source, so that everyone who desires food and drink, can draw from it. Amen.